Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hanging Out for a Living. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Nikilette Bowman. I hope I got that right. I know we talked a bit
Yes,
about, do I get that right? She
you
is the,
did.
thank you. She is the president of Wellness Rising and a holistic health and spiritual coach who helps women build unshakable boundaries so they can protect their time, energy, and peace. I know we can all relate to that. Nicolette's journey is deeply inspiring. She's overcome power imbalances in relationships, food addiction, and even breast cancer at the age of 39, all of which led her to discover the critical importance of holistic self-care and living in alignment with your inner power. Through her signature program, Awaken to Your Power, and her work at Wellness Rising, she helps coaches and entrepreneurs not only prioritize their well-being, but transform their lives from the inside out. Today, we're diving into her story, her wisdom on boundaries, and the practical ways we can all nurture our mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Hanging Out for a Living, Nicolette. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Theresa. Such an honor to be here. I'm so excited.
I am too. I know you're so busy that, and I'm so grateful that you're able to carve out some time for us today. So, let's dive into those questions, shall we?
Absolutely.
So your journey is really powerful and deeply personal. So
Yeah.
can you share what the turning point was when you realized you needed to reclaim your inner power and focus on holistic self-care?
So it's actually been a really long journey. I really had a problem with my weight when I was younger, when I was in high school, and I had high blood pressure at 15. So, and I was over 215 pounds. I was really unhealthy. And that was something that kind of walked was like an identity I held on to. And slowly over the years, I started eliminating things out of my lifestyle of what I would eat, what I would drink. And it started off with red meat, and then it moved into regular soda and different things along the lines that were happening in my life. But the real big turning point, you would think like breast cancer would be the wake up call. It really
Right.
wasn't. Actually, when I was going through breast cancer, I was eating pizza and I was actually eating a lot of food that really was not helpful and sustaining for my body. And I also was drinking alcohol, which is really not well for the body at
Yeah.
all. And in 2017, I started a program. It was called Wild Fit. And that taught me some interesting principles around food and how it affected the body. And so I decided to take the program because I really had tried almost everything, every single diet, up and down, all around, never really had any. I mean, I did have weight loss when I was younger, but it wasn't for health reasons. It was for vanity reasons. And
Ah,
there's a big difference between the two. So at this point in 2017, I was really focusing more on health. I had started our business in 2014 called Healthy Transformation Nation, which we rebranded to Wellness Rising last year. And I was on this journey of deeper because I wanted to get deeper than just the physical stuff.
sure.
So I started with this program and it dealt with the psychological pieces around food and wellness. And I eliminated a few things from my lifestyle that I was actually doing naturally, but wasn't aware. And this kind of kicked it over to the end. And when I released certain things out of my lifestyle, my allergies went away, my skin cleared up, I had energy, the brain fog was gone, and I felt amazing. And it really started a journey of that holistic piece of it moving forward in a physical way, but the psychological pieces didn't stick for me because I had had an identity and all of these things
Sure.
around food for so long, was so deeply ingrained that it one program for 90 days for me didn't work. So it really started changing in 2020. I was in a car accident in January and I had a very bad concussion headache for a year and a half. And during that time, after the accident, couple months, I had a couple of alcoholic beverages and I called them Nikki drinks. And my Nikki drinks were 4 shots of vodka per
Mm,
drink.
wow.
And I'm like, this is what I was doing before the accident, 5 to 7 days a week. And so you move into not drinking, which was fine. I didn't have a problem, not because I knew that was protocol and I had no problem with that. And I woke up the next morning after, because it was St. Patrick's Day, it was my son's birthday. And so I remember it really well. The day after, I woke up and I said, I'm never drinking again. I'm done with this. And I literally released that identity. I thought it was just releasing alcohol, but it was really an identity of numbing a lot of feelings for a really long time. And so releasing that identity of having fun and partying and enjoying it, it really wasn't enjoyable to me because it wasn't who I really was. And that was a step. And then I moved into another program that was very, very physical, which was 75 hard, but it was also a mindset program as well. And so when I started moving into that, that's when things really opened up tremendously for me. I started realizing that I was making excuses for a lot of things that I was doing in my life and had done in my life. And then on Instagram, I'm literally in the throes of arguing with myself. And I'm realizing that this is all in my mind. And so I started healing my mind. Yeah, the body was doing well. My mind was not so great. It was very negative. And that's where all that people pleasing and lack of boundaries would come in all of the time because I didn't have them with myself. I
Right.
lacked boundaries with me. And so when I started recognizing this within myself, I said, you've got to change this. This has got to change. And that's what has led me to where I am today. And I mean, there's other components that
Sure.
wonderful people along the way that have helped, but that was really those two big moments in my life that really started changing things for me.
That's absolutely fascinating and so empowering. And it sounded like for the longest time you were really self-sabotaging yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
Crazy.
there was a lot of self-loathing going on
Right.
because of the conditioning that I received when I was younger, especially around my body image. I was shamed a lot
Mm,
by my father
mm,
and my peers in school. I was teased endlessly and horrendously every single day because back in the 80s, when I was in high school, very few people were overweight. It was
yeah.
very unusual. So I stood out in that way and was targeted quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That just that just leaves me absolutely breathless in awe of all that you've overcome. And you talk a lot about the importance of boundaries for protecting our energy and peace. For someone who has struggled with people pleasing their entire life, where's the best place for them to start?
Well, it's definitely starting small because it's something you've been doing a lot of your life.
Right.
It's baby steps, but it's starting with some strength behind it. It's starting off strong. And the entry point is to begin by noticing, which is what I did in that Instagram reel. I was noticing the excuses and how I was not had no boundaries with myself.
Yeah.
And awareness is the first boundary. It really is. And you just start by tracking when your body is screaming no, when you're saying yes. That is a big indicator. Your body is very, very important to connect with the mind and the spirit. And it will tell you how you're feeling, the tightening of the arms, the tightening of the chest. Those are the things you can learn. And when you overextend or you're having to over explain everything and making excuses and you're overriding your gut, which is telling you, hey, this is what's going on, that's when you want to write things down and not judging yourself, looking at it from a perspective of observation and empathy as well. It's really powerful when you don't judge it, but you observe it. And I mean, we're constantly in growth mode, we're constantly changing. And these are things I still do today with myself because there are things that you work through, but then there's a different layer to it and a
Sure.
different perspective of it. And then you're like, ah, now I know. I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to observe it. And the other one is just picking one area of a no for yourself. And it's could be for yourself, um, I'm not going to stay up late any longer, or I'm turning the phone off at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just going to be in my own space and not have everybody coming at me asking me for something and pulling at me in every direction.
Sure.
And maybe, or it could be an event that you just don't, it doesn't feel right, so you're like, no. And by the way, no is a complete sentence. Just so you know that. And also just replacing, if you have that guilt, which I know can creep in, you just replace it with
Absolutely.
gratitude
Ah,
and
that's
just thank, thank yourself. I'm honoring myself in this moment. Thank you for doing that.
exactly. And I love how you say one piece at a time. Otherwise, you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, and it can actually become, I think, or that it's so overwhelming. So by just doing one piece at a time, it's doable, manageable, and sustainable.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And a lot of people are probably like thinking, oh, but what won't people get mad at me if I say no? And yeah, some might get mad at you. And but that is on them.
Right.
If you're
Exactly.
honoring yourself, that's their problem. It really isn't yours. And typically I found that the ones that it was the most rub with were actually family.
Ah,
And what I learned is that the more I upheld the boundary of no, whatever it was,
right.
the more they would honor it and respect it and understand it. And they started to adjust and change. And that is beautiful because not only that are they recognizing the boundaries that I'm putting out, but they're starting to see in their own life, well, maybe I need to be doing this as well.
Exactly, exactly. So powerful. So you're awakened to your power program. It
Yeah.
integrates health, mindset, and spirituality. What makes your approach different from traditional coaching or wellness programs? I know you touched a bit on that, but
Yeah. Well, not a lot, but I've experienced some programs that kind of put like a bandage on it, on the burnout, the anxiety, and things like that. But my goal is to get to the root. What is the root cause of what is actually happening
sure.
in your life? Where did the conditioning come from, the emotional patterns and the nervous system imprints that are happening? And there's also a lot of spiritual wounds that can happen even from birth. And it's so powerful when you see the things that are quietly running the show behind the scenes, and we rewire from the soul out because that's what we are deep inside. We're spirit. And so when you look at it that way, it's bringing all three into what I like to call a harmonic alignment. And so that's why there's a necessity to go deeper than just the symptom surface stuff.
Absolutely. And I think we can extend that to other parts of our life too, whether it's in business or being an employee or an employer. I mean, how many times has someone come into where you may be working and they're absolutely something's going on and they respond unlike what they have in the past, or their demeanor is like, that's not who I know. So it's so important to dig deeper and say, hey, what is really happening behind the scenes that has you responding or reacting this way. So I love
I
how you
agree.
say that.
Well, one thing that I use that is really a great tool is human design. I use that. And the reason why is because every person is unique and everybody has these incredible qualities that a lot of times they don't understand or they keep hidden or they don't understand, why am I like this? Everyone else is like this. Why am I like this? And I found that human design had really opened up a lot of doors for me in my mind and in my relationships and
Sure.
in life as
Yeah.
well. It helped my marriage actually, because I was starting to understand why my husband would do the things that he was doing that were like, I'm not like that. Well, why is he like that?
Yeah, right.
And it can really have an impact on your closest relationships if you apply it and use it. And so that's the other reason why I bring it into the program so people can start to understand at the foundational level, why am I the way I am? Because for me, boundaries are the foundation. They're not the footnote of everything. Boundaries are more than just saying no. It's about honoring yourself. It's reclaiming your energy, your choices, and also your identity. It's coming into like, who am I? I have been doing X, Y, and Z for so long because this is what I was taught.
Mhm.
But is this really me? Is this really who I am? And so we're digging in to find out, well, who am I? And also, who do I choose to be?
Right. That's so important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So many entrepreneurs and coaches find it hard to pour themselves into themselves, actually. I know
Hmm.
I can speak for that when they're constantly serving others, right? So,
Yes.
one small practical shift we can make today that could have the biggest impact on our overall well-being.
The biggest one that literally changed my mornings, surprisingly, was having a very powerful bedtime routine. And it seems a little weird, but it really changed how I started taking care of myself
Okay.
and started taking care of my body, my mind, and my spirit. And I actually have that available in our community for people that join our community. We have the bedtime routine. And I find that taking the time for yourself at night where you're getting yourself not just like turning the TV off, scrolling and all this stuff, and then putting the phone next to you and then passing out in the bed.
Hmm.
Believe me, I used to do stuff like that. It doesn't give you the evening and relaxation and getting you into a place of expansion and calmness that our bodies really need to get that rest. And we're basically repairing our bodies at night. And so if you have things like the phone is next to you, whether it's plugged in, unplugged, on or off,
Right.
get it out of the bedroom. That's one of the biggest things. Get rid of all devices out of the bedroom. That has been the big, and the TV too, because that's a screen. Get it, all of it out. That has changed my sleeping tremendously. I mean, I notice the difference because these things at night, they data dump around 2, 3 in the morning. And when they're doing that, whether they're on or off, it's still happening in the background. And that is those waves and everything, that's all affecting us. So I turn them off and remove them out of the room completely. Our bedroom is actually a data, well, a tech free zone, if you want to call it
Yeah.
that, And a lot of people are like, wait a minute, alarm clock. Well, I have two things: get a regular clock if you really need an alarm clock. But the other one is I'm going to encourage people set an intention to wake up at a certain time because alarm clocks, what do? They alarm you, and that sets your day off in fight or flight because you're woken from a slumber and you're like, it's jarring and it really
Yes.
gets the nervous system on edge immediately. And so my husband and I no longer sleep with alarm clocks. Nothing. We wake up naturally to the light that comes in the room. And so I find that that is really an important thing to do. But if you have to have something, then start off with a regular alarm clock.
Unplug.
That will make it different. Yeah, it really will.
Exactly. So, Nicolette, thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom and the heart behind your work. This has been such an inspiring conversation, and I know our viewers are walking away with actionable steps to protect their energy, set boundaries, and truly prioritize their well-being. If you'd like to continue the conversation with Nicolette, all of her contact information is linked in the description below. Be sure to reach out and see how Wellness Rising can support your journey. And while you're here, I have to tell you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment letting us know your favorite takeaway from today's conversation. Your engagement helps us to bring more incredible guests like Nicolette to hanging out for a living. Thank you again, Nicolette, and everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.